What's going on, Southern Alberta? It's the Stormbringer bringing you the PZW Match of the Week on Shaw Television. The Canadian Dream and Cruz, a dog collar chain match. The first time Power Zone Wrestling's ever done a match of this kind. A throwback to the 80s, a throwback to, in my opinion, one of the most violent, graphic, engaging contests in wrestling history. 1983, Roddy Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine. And here it is, the Canadian Dream and Cruz. Months of frustration by the Canadian Dream. For those of you that follow Power Zone Wrestling, the Canadian Dream is famous for his long 10-foot biker chain that he brings to the ring with him. Cruz, being the 20-year veteran, realizing that chain would be a great weapon and has used it regularly to take out the Canadian Dream, possibly one of the hottest rookies in 2006 in all of professional wrestling around the world. The Canadian Dream, the 20-year veteran Cruz, a 10-foot dog collar chain match. Both men, you can see Cruz is heavily lacerated. I don't know if the Canadian Dream has ever looked better, folks. Absolutely lacing the head and the face of Cruz with that chain. You can see it wrapped around the right hand of the Dream. One thing that I caught wind of when I was watching this match from the locker room, I noticed the tape job on the Dream's right hand. If you notice, he has a lot of extra tape. And I was looking at that and I was wondering what that was about, and then I realized what he was doing. He's got the extra tape so he can grip the chain. Oh my goodness. Introducing the face of Cruz into that ring post. You know, is it just me, or has the Canadian Dream slimmed up a little bit? He made mention to a couple of the other athletes of Power Zone Wrestling that he was going to, oh my, wow. You know what, folks, that isn't a visual that speaks for itself. Look at the fire in the Canadian Dream. That is 3 to 4 months of passion and anger and hatred absolutely being taken out on the 20-year vet Cruz. Unbelievable stuff. You know, I was commenting on the fact that the Canadian Dream had mentioned to a couple other wrestlers that he was going to hit the treadmill and work on his cardio. He wanted to outlast Cruz. I'll explain the rules of this amazing matchup. Both men, wow, on the pavement. You see that. Absolutely no regard for his own body, dropping that steel chain with all his weight behind it right into the face of Cruz. Absolutely amazing. You know what, folks? I've been in that ring with the Canadian Dream. Him and I have had some wars, and I tell you, this guy is a machine. You know, if there's one thing about the Canadian Dream, he is a throwback to the old days. You ain't gonna see fancy flips. You're not gonna see these great, entertaining, catchy promos a la The Rock or a Stone Cold Steve Austin. What you're gonna see is hard-nosed, I'm gonna hit you harder than you're gonna hit me. That is what the Canadian Dream is all about. And, you know, quite frankly, folks, being in the ring with this guy and having felt, you know what? There it is, the rookie mistake. Let me explain the rules. I'm putting over the Canadian Dream. He is a tough, hard-nosed professional wrestler, but right there is 1.5 years worth of experience. Here's the rules. You have to beat your opponent down to oblivion. Hence the Canadian Dream doing all the extra cardiovascular work. He wants to be able to outlast Cruz. You beat your opponent down to the point that he can't fight back. And then what you've got to do is you've got to touch all 4 corners in succession. And that is the only way you can win this contest. You saw the Dream. He went for the pin, but the pin falls don't count. No disqualification, no count out. And here he goes. 1 corner. This is what a dog collar chain match is all about. Beat your opponent bloody senseless and drag him around like a dead carcass. Unbelievable graphic stuff. I've been in that ring with the Canadian Dream, and I'm telling you, folks, this guy is a machine. There's Cruz, a sleeper hold. Ingenious by Cruz. He was getting pounded on for the last handful of minutes. Lays in the sleeper. The Dream. The Dream backs him down into the corner. One has got to wonder if Cruz bit off more than he could chew in this contest. The Dream, again with that chain. You can see all the extra tape on the right hand of the Canadian Dream. He's able to grip that chain and just absolutely lace the forehead. You can see the bloody face of Cruz. That's 1 corner. Going for the 2nd corner. Cruz cuts him off again with the sleeper. Chi Cruz with the sleeper cuts off the Dream. Can the Dream get to that second corner? No, he backs Cruz into it. And Cruz is able to cut off the Canadian Dream, going for all four corners. You can see both men wrapped up in the chain. You know what concerns me is if that dog collar gets pulled tight, you're going to run into a situation here where you begin to choke, where you begin to suffocate. I've heard horror stories of guys being in a chain match or a bull rope match like this where it's around their neck. They vomit. They almost suffocate on their own vomit. It is so violent and so hard to breathe with having that dog collar. Going back to the sleeper, Chi Cruz obviously realizes that the Canadian Dream is younger, possibly in better condition. But you know what? You can't drag around a bloody carcass if you're asleep. Brilliant, brilliant strategy by Chi Cruz. Laying in that sleeper hold. Canadian Dream doing everything he can to fight it. But you know what? When you've been dragging a 250-pound man around a ring, I don't care who you are, that's going to take a lot out of you. The Canadian Dream is easily one of the most powerful men in Power Zone Wrestling. But you know what, folks? If you're asleep, there's not a lot you can do. Chi Cruz now in control, lays a boot now into the gut. Chi Cruz finally regaining a little bit of control within this contest. Tom to my left here, my producer. Tom, this is absolutely incredible. February 6th, Power Zone Wrestling is back at the LCC DA Electric Barn. This is the Stormbringer, and I'm out.